Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am AttiDude back in another video and in today's video we're gonna be learning about loops in C#. If you haven't liked yet, subscribe my channel yet, do it now. I'll provide more content like this. So without any further ado, let's begin. So this was the lines of code. These were the lines of code that we wrote in our last video. So let us just delete them all. Okay, save, and first let us understand which are the types of loops. One is the for loop, which is marked by the keyword for and parentheses. Then one is while loop. It's not like this, it's actually like this. And then do, and then check while. Okay, and the last one is for each. So basically these are the different types of loops which we use in here. So let us just understand one by one. First of all, let's see what are for loops. First of all, let's write for, and then the round brackets, and inside of here we write the condition. But first, we need to pass in the key. For example, if we declare a new key like int I equals to 0, or maybe index, if you want that name to be more precise, more understandable, then index equals to 0 until index is less than maybe 5, and this is the condition, and on the basis of this condition the loop should run, and then again a semicolon and the last one, which is index plus plus or whatever you want to execute. We don't want any semicolon, and this line will be executed after we have completed one iteration. What is an iteration? It's basically that this block has looped one time. That is called an iteration. Iterations are very useful things, and they are very important in loops. For example, if we are having like this, then this loop is gonna have 5 iterations. Let's see. We can just go ahead and write console.write line, and then we can pass in maybe index, semicolon, and at last write console dot read key, read line maybe. If you want to read any single key, then you use read key, and if you want a full line, then you use read line. So we are writing this line so that we don't get any unwanted messages in the console. It will take some time compiling, and there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 iterations. We can go ahead and write iteration number and then plus the index. But if we just go ahead and add in the index, then it would write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't want that. We want this to be with 1 so that we add that number. Iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want this to be more simple, it's like this, it's simpler. So if we just go ahead and write minus minus and set this to be 0 if it is greater than 0, 5, and you can just go ahead and write hit play. It says 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that happens because we are running the loop inverse. We can just go ahead and add in minus, then it would be like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's inverted. And if you're running the loop from the inverse side, then it's better if you just pass in the index. But if you're running the loop adding the number, add in the index, then you need to add if you not wanted them, and it says parentheses can be removed. It says remove unnecessary parentheses, and it says it's removed. Okay, so one thing that you also need to take care that you need to have this third block. It matters a lot. If we are writing plus equals to 2, then just hit play. It runs the loop, never stops, just like this. Iteration 0 to 4, because this will be the last line of code that will be executed. If we also write index minus minus, then you see it will be normal because we are on one side subtracting that and on the other side adding 2 onto that. So it's indirectly adding 1 to the index, and I don't prefer doing that. You can just go ahead and add in a 0, and you see the loop runs over and over again. It will never stop until it crashes. So you needed to add or subtract that number. If you don't do that, it will keep on doing. And also you can add in another for loop inside of a for loop. For example, write int index 2 equals to 0, yes, then index 2 until it is greater than minus 1. Till then, index 2 minus minus, like this, and we can open and close, and then we can pass in this line. So you will see that it will just work once or twice. No, it will keep on working until it is 0 and until it is greater than minus 1, and we are even subtracting them, but we also wanted this to add in. Oh, where it is going. Okay, hope it should work. Yes, it gives only 5 iterations, but you see until index 2 is 0. First of all, we're defining the key. Then index 2 is less than greater than minus 1. Till then, index 2 should go minus minus. If we were to write minus 2 here, then it would be running 2 times, because we are adding another loop to that. And these kinds of loops are very important. They're very useful when we were to generate a whole bunch of cubes, maybe in Unity or any other software. So we're just gonna delete this, and now we're gonna take in a look at while loops. While this loop is very different from the others, because we're not gonna seeing that what the value is. We're just gonna check that if the value is true. For example, let me take a boolean for my value, or maybe is on equals to, first of all, let's set that to be true. And if we write not is on, that means if this condition is false, then the code will be executed. For example, we want to write like is on. No, just add in a simple right line. Your program is off. And let me just remove them. And it says the program is off. It will continuously keep saying until the program breaks, until it crashes. This loop basically is like, we don't know when the value will be set to false. For example, if we are writing a button hold script, and this while function is used there because this function is like, we don't know until when the loop will be closed. So for example, it's like this, and we can just go ahead and is on does not equal to is on, and that will give me error because I don't want to write like this. I want to write like this because we are inverting its values. And if it is on, then we're gonna call this, and it will keep on running until is on is true. And this can also be used as for loop. If we not write is on, you see it just ran one time. But if we have an int index equals to 1 until index is less than 6, or maybe 5, less than or equal to 5, until then we wanna index add to it one value to it. And if we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there were 5 iterations saying your program is off. Let me just delete it. Iteration plus index play. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. We got 5 iterations. We got what we expected. And while loop is like this. First it checks and then it executes. For example, for writing a button script, I'll soon bring a tutorial on that buttonhole script. Then we are like, if when the button is pressed, then we set a boolean to be true and call the function. And when the button is held up, then we set that boolean to be false. And in that function, we're gonna execute this while function, saying if we have this, if we have the boolean true which is pressed, we're gonna check if it is pressed, then invoke the event. If it's not, just return. And in the next video, we'll also learn about break and continue, which are very useful in loops and switches and functions. And we're also gonna add in a video, make a video on functions, classes. Don't worry about that. So now let us understand the next type of the loop. I'm just gonna cut this line, paste that here. Oh, cut, paste. Don't worry about this. And we can add in do. And it says error because we need to add in semicolon. Hit play, and we have 5 iterations. Let us understand how is this loop useful. It first does the whole thing and then checks. So for example, if we were to write if the index is less than 1, then if we hit play, it still says iteration 1 because it first does the job and then checks. If this is false, then it is not gonna do anything here. It is not gonna repeat this. So this is it for while loop. And the next type of loop is for each. It is a bit complicated, but trust me, it's very simple. It's the simplest of all. Let me quickly make a string array, and we're gonna make a video on that later on. So I'm gonna name this text equals to new string array with maybe 2 or 5. Fix these in so that, and we're gonna define like text of I, or we're gonna define that using the for each loop. For each, we need to pass in a variable string. We are creating a new variable string. I'm gonna name this my text. In the text, its syntax is a bit weird, but trust me, it's the simplest loop I've ever seen. First, we're gonna create a new variable of type string, and we have an array of texts. And it says inside the text array, search for my text. No, it's not like that, but it says we are running through each and every element of the array, and the particular element for the index is called my text. So this value in this type of loop, we don't get any kind of index. But if we go like console, no, first we need to define them. My text equals to maybe like hello, okay, and it says we cannot assign them because it's already an iteration loop. We're gonna assign these here. Text of I equals to hello. We don't have I, so we use 0. Don't worry if you don't understand arrays. I'm gonna teach you in a later video very deeply. Okay, so we're just gonna send this to before. We know that there are these. Okay, we know that there are 4 elements in the text. But if we don't know, just imagine that we don't know how many elements are there inside of this. For example, if we are having a quick check of how many weapons we have in our inventory, then we don't know how many elements are there. So we pass in the game object, actually the transform. Then we check if these transforms are child. Then we're gonna run this loop, and this loop is gonna run as many times as the elements of the array we pass in. And the array we passed in, that is text, have 4 elements. We know that, but imagine if we don't know that. We're gonna write console.writeLine, and we need to pass in something, and we're gonna type in my text. I hate this syntax. Okay, it says hello, hi, hello world, hi, hello. And that was the format that we passed in here. So we're gonna now remove this and take an int, and index equals to 0 to keep track of our index. And we can write index plus plus. And inside of here, I can write console.writeLine and index my text plus index. Remove this unnecessary line, and we see hello is 0, hi is 1, hello world is 2, and we're basically keeping track of the index of the loop. For each loop is very useful in the conditions where we don't know how many iterations can be there in an array. Let's take another example, that if we are keeping a track of the elements of something array, like an array of weapons, then we need to add in a component, or maybe just add in simpler, like we need to set their names like 1, 2, 3. Then we have 4 weapons, and for example we are working with Unity, then from the inspector we added in another element with the fifth element, then in that case we don't write like 4 elements go to 4 elements and then pass in the value. We use the for each loop, which checks how many of the iterations or how many of the elements are present in our index. We had 4 first, but if we have now added in the 5th one, then we can take that and set its value. We had 5 names, actually 4 first. Then we added 1 from the inspector and through script in the start function, which will be called whenever the application starts, whenever the scene starts. Then we're gonna check how many elements are there, and we can just keep track of that and print out the index. But that's a more efficient way than the for each loop, and this can basically be also used like if we want to read an image, then we pass in the image and check for each pixel where the pixel is. If its color is this, then generate allow, and we can do like that. But this is it for today, guys. I'll make sure that I will make you understand in depth with examples in a later video when we understand Unity. Not now, because we're just simply basically understanding the main concept and with examples, and we'll understand deep examples later on. Till that, keep practicing, and I am AttiDude signing out.